A good gaming keyboard doesn't have to be expensive in today's day and age. What if I told you that you can get this keyboard here for about $100 and it can do way more than this keyboard here that's worth about $500? In today's video, we'll be reviewing the Lemokey P1 Pro from Keychron. This is David with Side of Tech, your casual nerd. Let's go ahead and check it out. First, let's cover what comes in the box. We have a Type A to Type C cable, an extension adapter for the receiver, a Type A wireless receiver, extra keycaps, and for tools we have a keycap switch puller, some drivers for disassembling the keyboard, and lastly some extra screws just in case you lose some. First thing you notice from unboxing the keyboard is really solid and really nice quality. Feels like it's something that'll last you, you know? Now let's cover the features. The Pro version, which I have here, is basically a Bluetooth/wireless version of this keyboard. So if you do like having a wireless option, I definitely recommend getting this keyboard even though it is an extra $20 premium. And what's really cool is if you're interested in a bare bones option, that's actually $10 less. So you can get that if you're eyeing your own switches and keycaps. The keyboard is a 75% layout, so that means we get to keep our function row and the arrow keys. I feel like this is the perfect mix in that you retain most of the functions of a full layout while still keeping it smaller on the desk. Personally, I still like the 65% layout a little bit more since I rarely use F keys, but I have to admit having the extra row is nice when gaming. Case is made out of 6063 aluminum and is CNC machined, so there's uniformity to it. I also like that they added some sort of mirror finish piece on the bottom of the case, which looks pretty cool if you're into that. It just adds to the overall impression of the keyboard. The cases come in carbon black, navy blue, and the color I have here, space silver. I also chose the Keychron Super Red switch just to keep in line with my preference of linear switches. I'll cover these in a bit. The keyboard clocks in at about 3.6 pounds or 58 ounces, and in the hand it does feel nice and hefty. Not too light to where you think it's cheap, but also not too heavy where it's cumbersome. You can connect 3 different ways, and trust me when I say this, it's the best kind of flexibility you can have in a keyboard. You have the classic line-in connection as well as Bluetooth for 3 devices, and lastly a 2.4 GHz receiver that has a 1000 Hz polling rate. The good thing about this case is that it can hold a fairly large battery. A 4000 mAh battery is pretty good and should last you about a week or so. That's with the RGB on, and it can last you longer if you keep it off. The inside of the keyboard is pretty complex. I'm just gonna throw up this graphic so you guys can check it out for yourself, but when I did disassemble the keyboard, I noticed how complicated it was unscrewing the screws. You had to take out the switches and keycaps of certain inputs. I got down to the bottom of the keyboard relatively easily and I was able to verify the battery, but the PCB had a cable that was soldered on and attached to the top case, so I couldn't really disassemble it, but I could verify that the PCB was surrounded by foam. So moving on to the switches, I chose the red linears, which has an overall operating force of 45 grams. Not my preferred type of gaming switch since I do prefer to use something with a little less force like a silver type switch, but these are easily swappable if I want something like that. They also come pre-lubed from the factory, which is good. The keycaps are double shot PBT and in a cherry profile, so they're pretty decent quality. I personally like Keychron's new keycaps, and they have come a long way since their original ones, which were huge fingerprint magnets. I really enjoy to use these on a daily basis, and they have a good amount of grip when gaming. The one thing I like about most of Keychron's keyboards is that most of them are compatible with a web-based program. No need to download another app and add onto the bloatware on your PC. You can change basically everything you'd like, including the knob functions, which is awesome. Oh yeah, and that knob. The use of this changes the game for me in terms of ease of use when using the keyboard on a daily basis. I can change what the twisting of the knob does and the presses. I can even add layers for more profiles. This really helps when switching since this specific keyboard doesn't have any macOS switcher. Understandable since this is a more gaming focused keyboard. Now that we yapped about all the features, let's get into my opinions, the positives and negatives, and most importantly, the typing test. As a Mac and PC user myself, my biggest problem with this keyboard is that there isn't a Mac option. And for context, some of these keyboards, they do come with an option to switch from a Mac input and a PC input, which basically just switches some keys around. So the Windows button would be the Apple button, for example. And again, I totally get it. If you're getting this keyboard for purely gaming, obviously you're gonna want to game on a PC and not a Mac, but it really would have been cool to just hook this up to my PC, and then when I'm done with gaming and want to move on to productivity tasks, I can just switch on over to a Mac input and then just keep this on my desk for forever. So while this isn't a huge problem, there are for sure people looking for this kind of feature, and that would be a real deal breaker if you're moving around from system to system like I am. The second problem that I have with this keyboard, and in my opinion it's a pretty big one, the keyboard really lacks any kind of character when you're typing with it. No real thok, there's no real clack, it doesn't really have any kind of character, and it's a really basic typing experience. So don't get me wrong, this keyboard out of the box is really great, but if you're looking for one of those keyboards with an excellent typing experience outside of the box, I don't believe this is it. But I do have to say, there is a really great positive in this keyboard, and that is the overall value. Keychron offers a ton when it comes down to these lower mid-tier keyboards. They pack a ton of premium features in this price range, kind of like Yunzi, and I feel like they're pretty much tied in this kind of range. And another positive is the longevity of the keyboard. I think this thing will last you a very long time. There's no doubt in my mind, but you have to make sure you clean the keyboard. That goes for any tech product. But just by trying to even bend this, I know that the shell is just super solid, and Keychron's track record when it comes to their PCBs, I think this will last you. But with that being said, I think I'm ready to move on to my final verdict. So if you guys don't know my ratings, they are buy at full price, try it out, wait for a sale, and pass. For the Lemokey P1 Pro, I recommend that you buy this at full price. Now, while lacking in the more fancier features that come with really expensive keyboards, the P1 has a ton of customizability, value, and longevity. With the holidays here, I'm pretty sure you can grab these up for a good sale price, but I've been tracking this over the Lemokey website, and they seem to be selling out of these all the time, so I think it's a pretty popular keyboard. But let me know what you guys think. Is my opinion justified, or is this just another piece of clunky metal? Let me know down in the comments. If you guys are interested in more keyboards that I've reviewed, go ahead and check out my last one on the Apple Maker Galaxy 80. I think you guys like that too. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. This is David serving you a little side of tech, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you guys.